Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Get Out for Good. My name is Mike Little, and I serve as the Executive Director of the North Dakota Dental Foundation and the Optometric Foundation of North Dakota, both in partnership with the Dakota Medical Foundation. And I've had the pleasure of knowing the jail chaplain staff and Jerry Leach for over 2 years now with some of our work with Giving Hearts Day. I'm excited for tonight. We're going to take about the next hour and go through a number of really exciting events for you, some things that are going to describe what Jail Chaplains does, and also have a kind of a fun game show ready to go. Boy, I hope you buckle up. We're in for a treat. We have just this incredible evening, and it's going to be talking about how lives are repurposed and how individuals can get out for good. Events like this would not be possible without the incredible sponsors who have committed to making Jail Chaplains be successful. We'd like to especially thank Bell Bank, Quality Auto Body, Chris Construction, PetroServe USA, Premier Benefits Group, Short Printer, and Vision Construction. Now, tonight, audience engagement is going to be critical. We're really looking to you to help participate. Even though you can't join with us in person here, we'd like you to feel like you're really a part of this group, even wherever you're joining in from online. If you would do us a favor, so this is an ask I'm going to start with right away. If you take a picture of your watch party or wherever you're at and post it to Facebook or Instagram, please use the hashtag JCGetOutForGood. Again, that's hashtag JCGetOutForGood. There are going to be many opportunities tonight to support jail chaplains and the work that they're doing. To make a gift virtually tonight, simply click Make a Gift tab on the upper left-hand side of your screen. You can also make a gift through the link that you've received on your phone this evening. I'd like to give a warm welcome to all of you who are joining us virtually, all of the watch parties that are all across the country, really, and 10 different states are joining in tonight and having viewing parties, even some of our friends from Canada and Ireland. Welcome. We're especially glad you're here. I'd like to also talk about one of our watch parties in particular is the Maranatha Free Lutheran Church, and they're hosting a watch party tonight. Maranatha has been a partner with Jail Chaplains since the ministry became a nonprofit in 2006. Why don't we pop in on Maranatha and their team to see what fun they're having? Let's connect. Hi, guys. How's it going? Can you hear us at all? I can see the backs of your heads. They look great. You guys look awesome. Hey, we would just like to send from Fargo. We realize, I was talking to Pastor Ryan earlier, and I understand Pastor Lloyd is going to be there. And also I heard Tareen Berg, the board chair for Jail Chaplains, is going to be there. We are just so excited to have you guys join us virtually from your watch party. And just wanted to say, even though it's snowing out, it's kind of a blizzardy sort of evening here in North Dakota, it's warm in our hearts, and especially to see you. We're so excited to have you join us. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Mike.
Oh, I think I heard somebody just at the last minute. That's great. All right, that was awesome. Maranatha Free Lutheran Church. Thanks, team. All right, in a few moments, we will hear from Jerry Leach. And I've known Jerry for the past 2 years. I got to know her at Impact Foundation's training for Giving Hearts Day, and she is just a blessing to anyone that she comes into contact with. Every time I see her, she warms my heart. And when she asked me to MC tonight, I couldn't say no. You can't say no to Jerry, especially with the blessings that she's doing in our community and just the way she blesses each of our lives. Jerry joined Jail Chaplains in 2012 and became the first full-time executive director. She often shares how God has prepared her for this position by having her spend time working at the Salvation Army. Serving as the Community Relations Director during the 3 years of back-to-back floods gave Jerry the unique opportunity to build relationships with first responders, media, businesses, churches, and individual volunteers, which impacted her work today. Jerry has a deep empathy for the men and women stuck in some difficult ruts in life, and she desires to point them to the source of true freedom in Jesus Christ. But first, let's listen to Nick as he shares his lived experiences.
far as like my emotions, they used to take control of me. I would I would go back to using, or I would do impulsive behavior. I would get in a lot of trouble doing that. Wouldn't think about my emotion. I would go back to what I knew. Couch surfing, hanging out with old friends, that sort of thing. It'd get me in trouble, get me in a lot of trouble. Well, one of my first memories of meeting the chaplain and going to a group was the anger management was one of the programs. I learned a lot, not just about anger, but how to deal with all my emotions, really. Once I learned my anger, or how to control it, or if it mattered, or if I was going to care about it later on, or if it was a big deal, or even worth getting angry about, then I started taking that into being like any emotion, sad or hurt or frustrating or wanting to use or anything, distance from my daughter or my parents being passed away. I can use these tools that I've learned over the past few years as I transition into a better, more functional life. Anger management, the jail chaplains, it's all been a very big, very nice blessing. And now I can, I'm accountable for things, and I'm not going back into it. I've blocked all my friends and that sort of thing, or my old using friends. They're not even friends, acquaintances, and I get it this time. You know, I really do.
So as I was saying, we just heard from Nick, who wasn't able to control his emotions and was stuck in a downward spiral. Nick had checked himself into Prairie St. John's 2 previous occasions, but it was in the Cass County Jail where he found hope when he attended the anger group and learned how to control his emotions. I am so thankful Nick found hope and freedom through Jesus. And there are many others in similar situations. We are blessed to have a sheriff and his team who boldly support faith-based programs. Friday, March 13th, I got a call from from Sergeant Schwant letting us know that all programs at the jail were canceled because of COVID. I'll never forget the feeling in the pit of my stomach, and my thought was, now what are we going to do? We can't just roll up our carpet and go home. I knew that there were men and women that are desperately hurting and broken and needed some hope. So the Jail Chaplains has been providing life recovery Bibles for a number of years to inmates in the jail. So what we did was we started to prepare Bible study sheets. And every time we listed a reference, we would put the page number in the Life Recovery Bible. And the first week we handed those sheets out, we handed out 100, and we were amazed that the sheets were gone before the requests were filled. The second surprise was that the engagements the inmates had with them, they completed them. And then they were having these really rich conversations with Chaplain Mike. It was absolutely incredible to see how God continued to work. It was different than how we had envisioned it, but he still was saving people and repurposing lives through that. Recently, we asked some of the inmates if they were using the study sheets and how it had impacted them. Here's a couple statements that I heard. 1, my values have completely changed for the better, and I've become a much less selfish person. The smallest things make me so happy, and I love it. The second person said, I'm learning to pray, asking God not for what I want, but what he knows is best for me, and then have faith in him to complete it. Incredible, and we're going to hear more stories this evening as we go forward. It's now my opportunity to introduce our speaker for this evening. Last February, Scott Stroud called me and introduced himself as an ex-offender who had written a book. He asked the book, Get Out for Good, and he wondered if he mailed us a few complimentary copies, if we would take a look at it and consider giving it out to people who could benefit from it. Scott was trained as a barber in prison, owned a shop for about 15 years. Then he felt the Lord call him to attend seminary, and he's now serving a congregation in California. Scott, I'm so thankful for that call in early February and getting to know you, and I'm especially thankful that you came to Fargo on this snowy evening to share your story. Thanks, Scott.
Thank you so much, Jerry. Thank you. And yeah, I was expecting that we'd probably get a little snow while I was here so I can get a little taste. But yeah, Jerry, it's been really great to get to know you and the work at Jail Chaplains Ministries. And so thankful for what you're doing for inmates. It makes me think of my time, now 27 years ago, getting out of prison, and the things that impacted me, the different ministries that impacted me. I remember back to when I stood before the judge in Hennepin County, and that judge looked at me and said, "You know, Scott, we don't think you're a hardened criminal. We want to try to give you a second chance." And so he sentenced me to treatment. And if I could complete that treatment program, they were going to wipe the felony from my record, and they were going to stay my sentence. Well, I went into that treatment program, and that program was a program that was focused on kind of the scream therapy of the 90s. That's where you'd sit in a big circle, and all the residents there would yell and scream at you and about all your problems. And I made it for about 10 months there, and I realized, you know, behavioral modification isn't the problem. Changing the way I am on the outside wasn't the problem. There was a deeper issue. And so I had my sentence executed. I went back into prison. And the inmates there were really the ones that began to start working on me. They started witnessing to me. They started asking me why I was running from God and all of these kinds of things. And that's when I gave my life to the Lord. Reminds me a little bit of my son Elijah. I have a son who has a defective heart, and he was born with this heart valve issue. And over the course of the time, we'd had to watch him closely, because if he got sick, then it wasn't like other kids who get sick. And so one time he got sick, and we were watching him for about a week. He wasn't getting any better, and so we took him into the emergency room, and suddenly they got very serious, and they decided they wanted to rush him up to Children's at Stanford. And so they got him up there, and they began to fight his infection that was affecting his heart. It was attacking his heart valve. They worked for about 2 months to do that, and they finally realized that they couldn't do anything about it. And so they decided to put in a titanium valve. And Elijah's defective heart shows us that we don't need behavioral modification. We have defective hearts. These are things that are affecting us deeply. And so as I think about these men and women who are getting out for good, that's the first step, getting right with God, because all of the other things that happen after that come out of that relationship with the Lord. And so I'm very thankful for ministries like Jail Chaplains, and I pray that you will prayerfully support their ministry here. Thank you so much.
2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 17, the Lord says, "This means that anyone who belongs to Christ has become a new person. The old life is gone and a new life has begun."
Josh, could you just maybe share how your life has changed since you've been reading the Recovery Bible and doing the Bible study sheets? And
Well, I've always struggled with faith. I've always wanted to believe. This book in particular makes the text really, easy to read, easy to understand in modern times, and the footnotes are, if you don't get it from the scripture, the footnotes help, give the full message, and the handouts too. I mean, they tell you what to read, where to read. All you got to do is reflect on it after that, and it makes all the difference in my life.
okay, thanks for sharing, and just be encouraged, guys, that God has a new life for you and a plan for your life. Let's close in prayer. Father, we just thank you for this.
So amazing seeing those men and women that are volunteering for these situations and these Bible studies all over the country. People that are volunteering their time, and they're going into these places, and they're doing an amazing job. It shows me the importance of a church life, a church family. And when I got out of prison 27 years ago, that was a high priority for me, to find a church that would be supportive, that would understand that everybody deserves a second chance. And there needs to be a lot of preparation in that. Also, I was looking for friendships, friends who would be there and who would walk alongside of me. And when I was in the Lionel Lakes prison, that was the last prison that I was at, about 9 months before I got out, there was a community choir that came in. And they came in and they sang, and they did a wonderful concert. But out of that concert afterwards, we had a little bit of a time to chat with the people that had come and sang. And I met a young lady named Lisbeth. And Lisbeth realized that I needed friends. And so she called up two of her best friends, Brian and Mark, and told them about this guy in this prison. And they signed up on my visitation list, and they came into the prison and they visited me. They started visiting me regularly in those last couple of months before I got out. And then when I got out, they had a big get out of jail card printed up, and they had this party for all these friends of theirs to meet me and to get to know me. And they really took me in as a family, and I was very amazed by their love and by their sacrifice for me. And so as you see these young men and women getting out, and sometimes older ones that have been in it for a long time, they need friendships. They need a good pastor to come alongside of them. They need good Bible teaching and training. And so don't be afraid to invite them into your congregations with open arms, because you never know, they may be some of the next leaders of your church there.
I want to welcome you to Lighthouse Church. Lighthouse Church is a come-as-you-are church. We say that no perfect people are allowed, but what we mean is that everybody is welcome here. And if you're going through something right now, if you're in the midst of a struggle, I can assure you that there's probably people around here who have or are going through the same thing that you are. We're also a place where people come at various places in their spiritual journey. So if you've been part of the church your whole life, welcome. But if you are new or returning after maybe thinking you'd never come back again, welcome. And we hope you can take something here and apply it to your life, and that you will be blessed by being here. God bless.
What an amazing church, Lighthouse. We need churches like that are willing to open their doors for the least of these, my brothers and sisters, who the Lord loves. I think back to a time in my life when I was just about to get out of prison, and there was a Bible study that was going on there in Lino Lakes. And a man named Pete Lundeen was one of the guys that was leading that Bible study. He gave me his phone number when I was about to get out the day before, and he said, "Give me a call when you get out, let's have lunch together." And so I called him up, and we met at Perkins. And we sat there and we talked about some of the challenges that I was going to face as a young man getting out of prison, starting over. And Pete recognized in me a defect, that I didn't have a father that had trained me up and raised me up in the Lord. And so he and his wife, Sandy, invited me to come and live with him for a year and a half. And I moved into their basement, and he became a spiritual father to me. He began to teach me about relationships. He began to teach me about all the things that I needed to know about a job and the community and what it meant to be a man of God. And that accountability was crucial to me. And so I told Mark and Brian, my friends, about this amazing guy, and they began to come over and sit under his amazing tutelage too as well. And we began this group called the Brotherhood. And the Brotherhood really became an accountability group for us. We would sit and talk about our jobs, we would talk about relationships with women, we would talk about struggles that we were having internally. Whatever it was, we had a place that we could come and confess our sins to one another. And that's so important in the life of those who are getting out, that they have someone that they can tell about all of their struggles and have accountability for those things. They need that each week. Even as a pastor, I still needed that myself. Out in California, our church is quite a ways away from our headquarters in the AFLC, and so we're a little bit isolated. And so I've had to find really, pastors from other churches in that area that I talk to, that I confess my sins. And yes, your pastor does sin. I confess my sins to them and receive that healing that the Lord brings through those relationships. And so as you think about those men and women who are getting out, if you want them to get out for good, be one of those ones who's willing to, like the Lundeens did, invite them into your home perhaps, or support them, or start a group, whatever it takes to help them on that road to recovery.
I had a couple individuals that came to me on my caseload and maybe weren't meeting quite their criteria for domestic violence or anger management. So I learned about Living Free in the anger program and thought it was a good alternative programming for them to be involved in to kind of help guide them in a direction that might be positive. And I've had a few guys go through the program, and a lot of the individuals continue to go to the program, complete the program, and then keep going week after week. They can't get enough of it. it's been a great experience for them. Getting that feedback from them and how positive experience it is for them to participate in that group encourages me to spread the word and provide that option to other individuals. A lot of guys talk highly about the feedback and the interaction they're getting with that program.
Our two volunteers in here, they're going to show you two differences. Walter, could you pull Mike up? Sure. Was that hard?
Very hard.
Mike, could you pull Walter down? Was that easy?
Very easy.
The concept here, it's hard for people to bring us up, but it's easy for people to bring us down.
They connect that with maybe some of the stuff they did while they were in the county jail. They're more apt to get involved with it out here in the community because they had a positive experience while they're incarcerated.
Just a great example of men standing with each other and walking with each other through those hard times and learning together. One of the things that I think about that was so difficult for me when I was getting out of prison was the thoughts about employment. I was kind of worried that nobody would want to hire me because of the felony that I have. And so I went down to the local Lund store that was about 2 blocks from my grandparents' house where I was staying those first few weeks. And I walked in there and I grabbed the application and I began to fill it out. And as I filled it out, there was a spot that said, have you ever been convicted of a felony or have you ever been in prison? And so I put, I'd really like to talk to someone in person about this. Makes me think of a young man who I was training down in Soledad Prison. And I was doing a class down there through Prison Fellowship. And this young man came up to me with the same concerns I had. And he said, you know, Pastor Scott, when I get out, I think I'm just going to not tell anybody that I was a felon or in prison so I can get a good job. And I said, oh, you're going to start your whole career on a lie, and you're going to have to just keep on lying. I told him the story about my application to Lund's, and he was wondering how that had turned out. I said, well, yeah, the manager called me into his office, which actually doubled as the viewing place to try to catch shoplifters, ironically. And so we sat there, and I told him my story. I told him everything to what I'd done, the work that the Lord had done in my life, all the jobs that I'd had in prison, and gave references for those. And he looked at me and he said, Scott, I think that you deserve a second chance. I can see the Lord's work in your life. And so I told this young man in the prison about that, and I said, you really should tell the truth right off the bat and not lie about your past and that kind of thing. And so it makes me also think of my second job that I had, which was called Pies Incorporated. It was a pie factory that I had to go in for 10 hours and stand and flip fruit in. And that job just really showed me about perseverance, pushing through and doing the job even though it was hard. And so for you guys getting out there, all you men and women who are getting out, tell the truth, be upfront, because God will open doors, and any door that he opens, no man can close.
Getting out was tough too, of prison, you know, scared of trying to find a job. But I also found the Lord in jail. And that's what really helped solidify my foundation to be a better person. So from the time I gave my life to the Lord, you know, the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. He's got to break people down before he can build them back up, and that's what he did. I'm financially stable. I'm part of a great church, part of a great community, have great friends and support, got my own place, got a car. You know, it's just a blessing.
I always pray over every person we bring in here, and this was clearly a risk for me. I've never done this before, and God just gave me such a peace. This man stood in front of our church with complete honesty. He was honest to me in the application process, the hiring process, and that really sealed the deal for me.
In your book, Get a Job, you know, it's not everyone's gonna hire, you know, an ex-convict, but you know, if you're honest with yourself and honest with the people that you work for, they'll hire you.
And I'm glad that he's a part of not only our work family, but just a part of the community, and he's making a difference. And my advice is to just always be honest in that.
King David was in big trouble. He had sinned greatly against the Lord. He had had an adulterous affair with Bathsheba. He had killed her husband, and he tried to cover it all up. But the Lord knew and sent Nathan the prophet. And Nathan pointed at him, said, "You are the man who has done this." Kind of like the story about the one who took the sheep of a poor person. But you know, David did something amazing in that. He confessed to the Lord. He could have killed Nathan. He could have covered it up even further and wiped the evidence from the earth, but he didn't, because he had a soft heart to the Lord, and he didn't run away from that confrontation. Saul, on the other hand, was a very different king. He killed anybody who came against him. In fact, he tried to kill David numerous times. And these two stories show us that it's not about a perfect life. Even some of the greats in the Bible sinned, and sinned greatly. And so for us, as we think about falling, it's not about being perfect, it's about getting up once you've fallen down, not just letting the devil kick you while you're on the ground over and over again. And so we need to encourage those men and women who are getting out. As they get out, tell them, hey, you're going to make some mistakes. You're going to stumble. Because many prisoners, when they're inside, they have this sort of romantic notion about how things are going to be when they get out, how perfect it will all be. And as their perfect life does not unfold before them, they can become frustrated. They can become discouraged. And so they need people to crawl with them when they're crawling. They need people to walk with them when they're walking. And they need to have people encourage them to keep on running even if they stumble. And so, are you one of the ones who can help someone get out for good?
I was really trying to stay on the right path and do the right things and learn how to live the proper Christian life. But my, sinful life was still calling to me. I ended up falling back into my life of addiction.
Basically, this drug thing is all real. I mean, it affects every aspect of your life, every relationship, and it affects your family. It really affected my husband and I, the struggle with Katie kind of in the middle, but it affects finances, it affects everything, every part of your life. And I think it was from, in 2016 going into 2017, then finally God came to me and said, "Linda, my child, you need to take care of you and follow me, and I'll take care of your daughter." And that was probably the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, because I felt like I was turning my back on Katie, but what I was doing is I was let go and let God.
And it was really hard, especially because my mom wasn't there for me, and neither was anybody else, really. And I felt so alone, but that was when I really was able to rely on God. And he told me that even when I had nobody else, that I had him, and that's all I needed, and that he would carry me through anything and everything.
What an amazing story. In the nation of Israel, there are two major bodies of water. There is the Sea of Galilee and the Dead Sea. The big difference is the Dead Sea is at the most low point in that entire area. And even though water can come into it, nothing gets out of it. It's just too low. Whereas the Sea of Galilee is full of life, fishing and sea life and people living around it. That's because water comes in and it flows out. So many times prisoners, they get into a mentality where all they're doing is taking. In fact, that's most of their life, and that's why they're in prison, is because they are takers. Whereas once you become a Christian and you realize how much the Lord has done for you and done through the others that are around you, it makes you grateful, wanting to give back, wanting to help others. And so as you get out into society now, you want to go from that pariah, the one that everybody sees as the outcast, throw them away, get rid of them, to now becoming a pillar in society. A pillar is one that causes support to come to that area, to your job, to your community, your neighborhood, your family, your church. Because church leaders don't just come from nowhere. They are raised up in the middle of those church situations. And perhaps you're the next church leader. Maybe you're the next ministry leader of Jail Chaplains Ministries or something similar to it. And so as people have put so much work and time into you, it's time for you to give back.
Giving back for me is like just taking the time out of my day to talk to someone that's struggling, because there's people in my life that took time out of their lives to do the same thing for me, and I wouldn't be sitting here giving this interview right now if it wasn't for those people taking the time out of their lives to give back to me.
And I think it ties in with what my family has done when they have allowed me the privilege of being back in their lives, and they've helped me on a few things. And they say the best thank you I can give them is to keep doing the right thing, keep plugging along. And I do that with going to groups, trying to, on occasion, facilitating groups, giving people rides, trying to be an encourager, trying to push and prod where needed.
Even though I'm giving back, it still helped me stay clean, because it helps me see where I came from and where I can end up back. It sounds selfish in some ways, but I see what the real struggle is with them, and when I talk to them, I can relate with it because I've been there. So that's what makes the Living Free groups, to me, so powerful.
I'm a big fan of Living Free because the variety, there's a start and an end date to it. It makes the facilitating pretty easy. And I think most importantly, it's Bible-based.
I never realized I had to give back, but now that I found God in my life, I feel that I have to give back because somebody gave it to me.
One of the parables that Jesus told that I think shows the Father's heart the most is the parable of the lost son. It's that story of that young man who took his father's inheritance and went off and squandered it, threw it away with prostitutes and wild partying. And yet that father was always looking down the road, always looking to see, is this the day my son's going to return? That's the story of my life. My life was one of throwing away great gifts that God had given me. And yet he was still looking down that road for me, still looking to see if this would be the day that his son would return. Because God is a God of restoration. He doesn't let relationships go unnoticed and throw them away. Well, that person, they're all washed up. He loves to restore things. And our relationships can be restored in the community as well and with our families. Many of us have hurt people in the process of our crimes, and there needs to be restoration in the midst of that. But it's not just a short race that we do this. This is a long haul. It's a long process. It's a marathon. And as you think about this long road ahead of you, you'll need people cheering you on along the way. And that's what Jail Chaplains does, other ministries like them. They cheer you on to try to help you restore those relationships, get back with those who you love, children that you haven't seen maybe in years. For me, I know that there were many family members who had kind of washed their hands of me because I was creating a lot of problems in my family. But when they saw that the Lord had taken a hold of my life, many of them actually came to the Lord in the midst of that. They saw my life as a witness, and they wanted what I had. And so, don't give up. Even though the race is long, many are here to cheer you on.
Restoration is what I look at. I just think that I could not believe, and I just thank God for allowing the time to pass so fast and quickly that it wasn't 40 years. We're allowing individuals and our family and Katie's children to see that we are on this earth to serve the Lord, and He's going to take care of us.
I have a great relationship with Jesus. He's my Lord and Savior, and I am so grateful. I thank Him every day for everything that He's done, for sending me to jail. I know that's kind of weird to be grateful for, but I am grateful because that brought me to where I am now. And I'm grateful to the jail chaplains. They've been there for me. They were at my graduation from North Dakota Adult and Teen Challenge. They've been such a blessing to me, and I am so grateful that I have contact with them and that they're there for me and that they're helping other people who are in the place that I was. Because, you know, most people that end up in jail they're hurting and broken and lost in darkness, and they just need the light of the Lord and the love of other people who know Him to help them find their way out.
Wow, that was great. Thank you so much, Scott, for sharing some of the pieces from your book. I know I just finished reading this, Get Out for Good. And I got to say, as I was reading through it, I realized that the principles that you shared in here really are for anyone in their Christian walk and how to really lead a successful life. And I just wanted to read really quick. This wasn't necessarily planned, but page 143, you quote Proverbs. So Proverbs 15:22 states, "Without counsel, plans fail, but with many advisors, they succeed." And for me, that really stuck out. And as I was thinking about really what you've been able to provide, what Scott has been able to provide for countless folks through this book is very similar to what Jail Chaplains provides. It's very much tied together, is that idea of how do we have wise counsel? How do we provide a path forward? How do we let people see the success that they can have really once they put their faith in Jesus? Thank you for sharing that, Scott. We've also just heard some incredible stories about lives being repurposed through the amazing work of the Jail Chaplains team. Now, you will have the opportunity to partner in this incredible work, you at home. So as you're chiming in now, this is the part where you participate. So once again, you can make a gift virtually by simply clicking the Make a Gift tab on the left-hand side of your screen. You can also make a gift through a link that you received on your phone this evening, or by mailing a check in to the address that's displayed right below on the screen right here. So tonight, we have a goal of raising $70,000, and we know that with your support, we can make it there. And not only are we going to raise $70,000, we're going to do this, right, guys? This is going to be great. Yeah, okay. And I'm just really excited to say that there's also a $35,000 match fund tonight. That means that every dollar that you give will be matched up to $35,000. That's incredible. Let's do this. Let's make our $70,000 goal tonight. All right. So a couple of things that I'd like to go through first. As we kick off the game show that's coming up, gifts can be made online. They'll be recorded in real time, and we'll be able to see our progress during the game. Actually, just behind the stage here with our crew, they added a little bit of a ding sound. So every time we hear a bell dinging in the background here on stage, that's going to be a donation coming in. So drive us nuts, get that bell going. Let's get some donations coming in. And I know that each question that comes up in this game show is going to have a dollar value that you can partner through a financial donation at that level or more, if you're so inspired. If you would like to give more, we're not going to stop you. Scott Stroud, who you heard from earlier, is going to be our game show host tonight. And I'm excited. We have a celebrity contestant tonight, Michelle Donarski. Michelle, she'll be playing to raise finances for Jail Chaplains to continue to impact the transformation of more lives in our community. Michelle Donarski is the municipal judge for the city of West Fargo and a full-time attorney here in Fargo. I was excited to get to know her over dinner earlier tonight, and I can say she definitely has the character and compassion and care to back up being on the show. We're so excited to have her. Her motto, her personal motto is, "Don't judge, you don't know their story." Her passion is helping people and businesses understand the legal process. She's a proud supporter of Jail Chaplains. Are you guys ready? Are we ready for this? All right. Scott, let's start helping more people get out for good.
All right, Mike, thank you so much. The guy with the $1 million smile there. Awesome, good job. Well, we have a special guest, Judge Michelle, come on up. We're so excited to have you. Woo! Let's do the COVID elbow, I guess. Come on, have a seat. So you're a big supporter of Jail Chaplains already, and you get to be a contestant tonight on the show.
So nervous.
I'm nervous. I'm nervous. This is the first time I've been sitting in front of a judge since my sentence way back in the day, so hopefully it'll go better than that tonight.
It'll go way better.
Yeah, for sure. Well, first of all, we're going to talk about the rules a little bit here of this game. And so the game consists of 7 questions, starting at $45 and going up to $5,000. And so you're playing tonight with the goal of raising $70,000 to continue the life-transforming work taking place at Jail Chaplains. Questions and answers, options will be read, and you'll have a few seconds to state your answer. Once you've given your answer, you cannot change your mind once you've locked it in. You'll have 2 lifelines tonight. Enlighten Me Guest, that's a guest that comes in and has a special knowledge of the question that you'll be looking at. And then poll the virtual audience. They can click on their screens and then tell you what the right answer is, hopefully. And so audience members have the opportunity to encourage you by making online donations of the dollar amount that you are playing for. And as we see those coming in, we'll know right away if people have given donations. I can hear donations are already starting on the thing. So we have that sound you'll see that'll be going on in the background as well. So are you ready to play, Michelle?
I am ready to play.
All right, here we go. Let's start with our first question, question number 1 at the $45 level. What was the first practical tip I talked about tonight, which will set the course for someone to stay out of the correction system for good? Was it A, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, B, get a job, C, get right with God, or D, find a date and have some fun?
Well, that sounds like fun.
Yeah, it does.
Gosh, you know, I know you talked a lot about, and all night tonight's been a lot about God and what God has done to change choices, to move things forward. And so I think the answer is C, get right with God.
All right, is that your final answer, Judge Michelle?
That is my final answer.
Locked in. Well, the answer is C, get right with God.
Yay!
$45.
Yes.
All right, sounds good. And actually, each of these levels provides different things for the jail chaplains. That $45 level provides life recovery Bibles for the inmates.
Good.
And so,
Okay, good.
Great
Good.
opportunity
Okay.
there. All right, moving on to question number 2, the $100 level here.
Okay.
Starts easy and gets harder here.
All right, I'm ready.
All right, the question is, what most moved me to make the decision to give my life to Christ in prison? Was it A, the chaplain, B, a Gideon Bible, Z, Zach Williams' song Rescue Me,
Good song.
okay, or D, the influence of Christian inmates?
Well, for the right answer, I'm going to say D, the influence of Christian inmates.
All right, is that your final answer?
Final answer.
Okay, well, the answer is D, the influence of Christian inmates.
Yes.
That was so amazing. Those guys in there, they became ministers to me. And I know that there are so many that have been touched by the lives of the inmates. So once they come, well, these donations are flowing fast. Thank you. Another one. Okay, let's keep rolling here. They're excited. All right, Michelle, question number 3 at the $250 level.
Okay.
Here we go. In my book, I talk about the need for a heart change versus behavioral modification for long-term recovery and staying out of the system. I use my son Elijah's defective heart valve as an illustration. What metal is his replacement heart valve made of?
Okay, and the options are?
The options are, you got to read my mind. Oh, A, copper.
Okay.
B, titanium. C, aluminum. D, tin.
No, definitely not aluminum or tin. I'm guessing, awesome story by the way, thank you for sharing. I am guessing it's going to be B, titanium.
That's your final answer.
Final answer.
Lock it in, B. Well, the answer is B, titanium.
Yes, good. Woo! All right.
And by the way, Elijah's doing great. He's recovered fully and he's doing really well.
That is
that level, the $250 level, provides bus tickets, 150 bus tickets for these released offenders that are going around, and they are using them for jobs or appointments that they need to
Transportation,
go to. So, great
a
job.
necessity. Yep.
Moving along, and I hear those donations coming in. Thank you so much, everybody out there. All right, Michelle, we're moving along, about halfway there. Question number 4 for the $500 level. This one's tough. How many men and women were booked into the Cass County Jail in the calendar year 2019? Is it A, 9,373, B, 1,568, C, 8,144, or D, 3,257?
Wow. Those are specific numbers. Oh my goodness.
Be good to know somebody in the county system that had those
Right?
records.
Right? Oh, well, $500 is a lot of money, and I don't want to screw this up. I'm going to use one of my lifelines.
Okay.
And I'm actually going to poll the audience. So
All right,
please,
the virtual audience.
the virtual
All right,
audience,
great.
please help me out with this answer. It's
Well, you
too
have
specific.
The opportunity right on your screen there. You can click on which of these answers that you think
Yes.
Michelle should go for, and hopefully we've got a lot of county workers in Cass County out there watching tonight.
For the exact number we need at $500, and the $500 does what for Churches United?
Yeah, I'm not sure on this one.
I think this one is is it the scholarships?
Oh,
I think it's the
scholarships.
scholarships.
Okay, you've got that. That's good.
Yes.
And it's, it's amazing to me, all these different ones who are in. There's 2.3 million people in the prison system right now in the United States. And each of those people have family members that want to see them get that support they need from places like Jail Chaplains.
The benefit is in the jail they get the resources, right?
That's right.
And Jail Chaplains is one of those resources.
Right. I think we're getting, here we go. We've got
Okay.
the poll coming in. Let's see, right on our screen there, we can see, looks like everybody's leaning toward question A, 32%. So what do you think of those statistics there?
Okay, well, if A is 9,373, then I'm going to go with A, and I'm going to believe the virtual audience.
Okay, is that your final answer?
Final answer.
Well, I don't know about that virtual audience. The answer is A, 9,373.
Woo! Thank you! Thank you!
Okay, a few people got it. I was close.
Okay.
Okay, moving on to question number 5 for $1,500 here.
Okay.
All right. Income to fund the work that God has entrusted to jail chaplains comes from the following sources. Okay, a lot of different sources here. Is it A, foundations, private donations, and Cass County? B, North Dakota Department of Corrections, Cass County, and private donations? C, private donations, businesses, foundations, and churches? Or D, the U.S. Department of Corrections, North Dakota Department of Corrections, and foundations? Which of those stands out? Where do you think the money comes from for the programs?
I know it's not D. And I do know that it's private. And I do know that churches, a lot of it is from churches. And God is certainly the center of Jail Chaplains. So I'm going to have to go with answer C, because that is the only one that has churches in it.
That's your final answer, Judge Michelle.
Final answer.
Okay, locked in, and the answer is C.
Yes!
Private donations, businesses,
Yeah!
churches. Great job.
$1,500.
Way to go.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, we're moving on. 2 more questions left until that $5,000 level. Question number 6 for $2,500. Men and women leaving the correctional system with a felony on their record have a difficult time finding A, place to live, B, a job, C, healthy relationships, or D, all of the above.
I'm going to have to go with all of the above. I know that finding a job is difficult. I know that housing, reestablishing relationships, you just talked about rebuilding the relationships and certainly rebuilding bridges. And so it's something where I know that all of them are a struggle.
Yeah, we saw those in the videos too, many of those different things. And
We
so
did.
your answer is D. Is that your final answer?
Final answer.
Locked in at D, and the answer is D, all of the above.
Yes. Good, good. Okay.
It's nice, that $2,500 level, that actually provides jail programming for 2 weeks. And so if you think about, even if 6 of those kind of donations came in, that'd be almost a whole quarter of work done there. So
Ding.
fantastic.
I just heard another
Another
ding.
one came in. Wow, those high levels are starting to go.
That's
So
good.
thank you so much, everybody donating out there. All right, Michelle, this is it, the big one, make or break.
Okay.
Number 7, the question number 7 is for $5,000. Why is Sheriff Jesse Johnner and his team at the jail supportive of the jail chaplains and their impact on their work both in the jail and the community? Is it A, that jail chaplains is not a line item in their budget? B, spiritual presence creates a calm and safer workplace? C, living free groups are a re-entry bridge to the community? Or D, kind gestures that support and encourage officers and their families? Big money here. What do you think, Michelle?
Well, $5,000. I have to use my last lifeline. I have one more left, right?
You do. The enlightenment.
And I'm going to use the enlighten me. I need somebody to enlighten me to make certain I get this answer right for $5,000.
Sounds good. Well, Michelle, you will get really enlightened by this guest enlightener. We'll turn it over to him right now.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jesse Johnner, the Sheriff in Cass County, and I want to thank all of you for tuning in this evening in support of this great event and support of our Jail Chaplains ministry. Many people have asked me over my approximate 2 years as sheriff, why do I support the Jail Chaplains ministry inside the walls of the Cass County Jail? As the sheriff, this is a no-brainer and an easy answer. The Jail Chaplains ministry is a ministry of such wonderful, caring individuals who donate so much free time to make our community better. There is no line item in our budget for this program, but through the support of our community and their caringness and gracious donations, we are able to bring this ministry inside our walls. Having this ministry available to our staff and inmates makes the jail a safer place for our staff and inmates. Through receiving this programming and ministry, it brings a calmness as our inmates learn right from wrong through the eyes of God. As they work through the program, they learn ways that they can reintegrate back into the community successfully and build relationships that they continue on the outside of our walls. This is one of our biggest challenges in regards to recidivism, or those who may return once they are released from custody. If our inmates do not have a good solid platform, positive influence on the outside, they tend to find their way back to those negative influences, the same ones that brought them to our facility in the first place. Through the Jail Chaplains Living Free programming and groups, they can successfully re-enter back into the community. Finally, the support and encouragement that they provide to our staff and their families is tremendous. They understand the importance of family and the stresses our staff face every day while at work. They arrange family gatherings and get-togethers for our staff so that our staff can relieve stress and build stronger relationships amongst fellow employees. As the sheriff, I want to thank Jail Chaplains Board, Jail Chaplains volunteers, and our community partners who, through donations, make this program available and so successful. Know that you are extremely appreciated, have been instrumental in changing numerous lives, and have succeeded in making our community a better place. Okay, Michelle, hopefully that enlightened you and our viewers why we are so supportive of the Jail Chaplains mission.
All right, great job.
That was good.
Do you feel enlightened,
I
Michelle?
feel so enlightened.
Me too.
I
But
do. Thank you, Sheriff Johnner.
I don't know about this question, though. It doesn't seem to be structured correctly here.
There isn't.
No.
It's too hard to... I would liken all of the above. I see where they're enlightened, I'm enlightened, there's the calmness, there's the re-entry into the community.
Right.
I mean, I really would love a E option, all of the above.
Well, yeah, I think the Gaming Commission is allowing me to, on this one question, I guess, change the answer. You can have an E, all of the above, if you want it. So.
All right, that's what I'm going with.
All right, locked in, and the answer is all of the above for $5,000 in the win.
Oh, wow.
Fantastic, and there it is. We got a matching gift right there, $5,000.
Perfect.
And so
Thank you.
We're so thankful to everybody out there, and a wonderful time tonight with Judge Michelle. Thank you, Judge, for coming out and spending some time with us this evening.
My honor.
Your honor. Your honor, your honor. All right, let's turn it back over to Mike the Man.
Thanks, Brother Scott. Thanks, Michelle. Congratulations for winning Get Out for Good, the first annual. I'm excited to see future ones. If you'd like to participate, reach out to Jerry Leach, and I'm sure she can arrange something in the future. What fun. That was great. Well, that was really entertaining to watch. I grew up on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, so that just flooded all the memories back, and I feel like I was there. Love it. So tonight, we've just had an incredible journey where we've heard about really the impact of jail chaplains in our community. We've learned about the impact that they're making in the lives of each inmate that then finds freedom through Jesus. You know, when I think about the mission of jail chaplains, it's restoring lives to the community with the love and the compassion of Jesus Christ. You know, when you think about the four main areas that Jail Chaplains focuses on, it's offering hope, building relationships, proclaiming Jesus, and teaching life skills, which then lead to clarifying the impact of new creations in Christ, lives being repurposed, families being restored, and individuals giving back. I cannot say enough how your donation tonight and your involvement with being a part of the Jail Chaplain family, the broader donor family, your commitment to Jail Chaplains is so vital, so important for their operations throughout the year and all of these areas of impact. But I can say that even though our event is fast approaching the end of the evening, you can give any time of the year. But if you want to maximize the $35,000 match, you have through the end of the month. So I would encourage you to please give to Jail Chaplains, look at the matches, and have your dollars matched, and change lives for good, and help those in bondage to get out for good and have freedom in Jesus. Thank you for joining us tonight, and I will pass it off to Jerry Leach to wrap us up. Jerry.
Hey there. Thanks so much, Mike. Thank you, Scott, Michelle. And we've just had an incredible evening together celebrating what God is doing and how lives are being changed. Thank you to everyone, each one of you, Sheriff Johnner, for sharing your time and talent tonight. Thank you to each of you that joined us in the audience. And now this game show, we're wondering like, okay, did we make it? I mean, we've had an accountant back there tallying things up. So where are we, Whitney? Oh my gosh, you've got to be kidding me. That's incredible. Wow, you guys, thank you. Wow, that's amazing. I mean, what God is going to do with that money and the lives that can be impacted. How many Nicks are there out there? How many of the other people that you heard? And you know, we have a friend that's going to wrap this up for us tonight, because I could say all kinds of things and tell you all kinds of stories about lives repurposed, but I want you to hear from a friend of mine. I've walked alongside Faith. We've walked alongside Faith for about 5 years. And in this little video clip, she wraps it all up. This is what Jail Chaplains is all about, and that's why we exist. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
Jail Chaplains has shown me that I don't have to walk this journey alone. If it wasn't for Jail Chaplains, and if it wasn't for my belief in Jesus Christ, I don't think I'd be where I'm at today. And I'm thankful for that. I would say it feels like hope. It feels like hope, and it feels good.